For more on China's anti-corruption campaign, I'm joined by Dali Yang. He is a professor in the Department of Political Science at the University of Chicago. What would you say are the obstacles that still remain in this anti-corruption campaign?
Well, I think the challenge is also there has been so much pervasive behavior in the entire system. So as a result, actually, it's been extremely challenging to take on a lot of those vested interests. But so far, under President Xi, so much has been done in taking down those big players, the big tigers, so to speak, at the top levels and also in the state enterprises and other areas as well. But of course, because a lot of the problems have gone on for such a long time, however, a lot of information, new cases are going to be discovered over time.
And it's interesting you bring that up because we've done an awful lot of reporting on the anti-corruption campaign since its beginnings. And experts say that these campaigns, in order for them to be effective, you really have to have two features, investigation and education. How do you strike the right balance?
Well, I think fundamentally investigation is important, but I think the Communist Party leadership has also been correct in emphasizing that you don't want people to become corrupt in the first place. That means greater transparency, better management of budgets, less discretion on many financial matters, and greater systems in terms of bidding and other things. A lot, in fact, was done in the past, but they were spotty, and over time, people forget about them. And of course, there's a lot of dealings behind the back doors as well in terms of businesses, IPOs, and so on. Again, much needs to be done to close a lot of those loopholes. But again, though, I think I want to emphasize many developed economies went through phases of rampant corruption. So it takes some time, actually, to build the systems to close down the loopholes so that you can really begin to have a clean system for the future.
And it's always an ongoing battle, isn't it?
Yes, indeed, and which is one of the reasons why the leadership has decided to build up a system, this supervisory commission, which will pool the resources for anti-corruption, make them a more formidable force, and also a legal force. So far, some of the procedures, for example, for incarcerating or taking into party officials into custody, the legal basis for it is a little bit questionable. I think actually the leadership recognized the challenges, and so they are building a stronger, more comprehensive system directly reporting to the National People's Congress so that actually it can be there for the long haul.
Yeah, it's interesting because Zhang Ningyi was talking about that in her piece, you know, steps to integrate otherwise scattered anti-graft functions into one body. And I guess what I'm hearing from you is that's a really important step, isn't it?
It's an extremely important step. It's a constitutional change in a way, in American terms. And in fact, it's not getting a lot of attention. The leadership has decided to launch experiments in localities, but my hunch is they are going to ramp it up and ratchet up the system very shortly.
Xinhua reporting in December that the battle against corruption has gained crushing momentum. So talk to me about the byproducts of this. I imagine increased public confidence is just one of the byproducts, but as you look at the overall landscape, what do you see?
Well, I think number one, public confidence in the anti-corruption efforts has indeed gone up. Survey results show that actually there is significant public support. But there are also questions. People are asking, look, some things cannot be done as in the past because some officials have decided not to risk anything. But at the same time, they have also decided not to do anything when they are in their positions and so on. So how do we make sure that people don't become corrupt but continue to do their business, however, for official business? That's a challenge. And I think actually already I see signs that the leadership is beginning to introduce adjustments to make sure that the system will continue to work for normal businesses while preventing corruption. For example, reimbursement measures, banking procedures, and so on. Fundamentally, however, so sort of you need people to realize that there are certain things we shouldn't be doing. For example, historically in China, there are a lot of fake receipts. This actually will take quite a bit of effort to clamp down, to make sure that people don't even want to think about doing it.
Right.
And all of those requires a fundamental cultural change. And only with tough crackdowns, preventive measures, will this be implemented over time.
Professor, thanks so much for joining us from Chicago. Certainly appreciate it.
My pleasure.